All right, welcome back to another part in this series where we're digging into the weeds and talking about different things and getting into the fine details. And one of the questions that always comes up is, how do I know when to get my primary into the secondary? Let's just get right into this video and I'm gonna show you.
I'm so happy it hurt when they walked out the door. Happy they left my heart broke on the floor. Happy I don't have to fight anymore.
Now, you can see here the bubblers are still very active. I consider this active when you're starting to see bubbles and they're, every second or 2 seconds, that's active. We're only on day 3, like I said. So what I want to do is show you in this video when to get it over into the primary. But first I want to show you, if you watch part 1 of this series, we talked about secondary and primary and oxygen. Make sure you're stirring this each day for the first couple of days because this yeast needs oxygen. It is very important in this stage of the primary to stir this a little bit and get oxygen in there until this slows down. That's when you'll want to stop, but these are active. Let me just show you what we're gonna do to stir this in. Let's get this strawberry one opened up. Now, I got my sanitized paddle. Another thing that you can determine when this is not done fermenting is when you see foam like this. That's still a lot of foam. That is a lot of active yeast still going to work in here. So I know that is one way I can tell that it's not ready beside my bubbler. When this foaming stops, that is when you can start testing it. And I'm going to show you in this video how to do that. But I just wanted to show you what these look like. This strawberry, if you could smell, smells incredible. Let's get the lid on. Let's check that banana. Oh, I can smell this one too. Now, this one's got a lot more liquid in, as you can see, but do you see this foam? Oh my goodness. That is a lot. This one is very active, you can see. Do not rack it in this stage because this is still fermenting. And another way you can tell is if you're still smelling yeast in here. That's another good way to say, okay, this is still working, let it go. Don't rush this part of the process because you want to get a specific gravity of 1.0. That is what your goal is here. Sometimes you may not quite get there and it looks like it's done. That's okay, it'll finish in the secondary, but this I find is you want to get as close to that 1.0 as you can. So let's just fast forward this and show you where I think these are done, and we'll get to the next step and we'll test it to make sure. This is far from done. These are still very active batches of wine. All right, it's been exactly 8 days since we put these into our primary, and you can tell a big difference in these. This is the banana. This one's still a little bit active, but I know from experience the strawberry has really slowed down. You can see the water's all the way over on this side, so we know it's still working, but I also know it's time to get it into a carboy or secondary. Now, in this part of the stage, it's very important that you know when to test this and get it into the secondary. And the only best way to do that is with the use of a hydrometer like this. I got a couple different kinds in my store, but there's other ways you can tell. If you can't get this, which I will never support, there's a way you can tell that this is almost done. Number one is your airlock, but we're going to open it up and I'll show you the difference between this one and this one. So let's get these opened up. Let's start with this strawberry. We'll get this one open and then we'll open this one. Boy, they smell like wine. Now, since the banana is not done, I am just going to stir this a little bit. This will be the last time because it's really slowed down. You can see my foaming is really settled down, but that's what we want. So you can see by the foam that it is still fermenting. It is not quite done. I'm going to test it and show you exactly what I mean. But this other one that I know is done, the strawberry, is if I'm just going to slide this over, and do you see that? there's hardly any foam in there at all. So that's what I mean by when it's done visually if you don't have a hydrometer. But always use a hydrometer. Again, you're going to get the best results in winemaking from using a hydrometer. So let's get these in cylinders and we'll get our hydrometer and we'll test them and see where the ABV is and specifically where is the specific gravity at. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sample of each one of these. I got 2 cylinders here. These usually come with your hydrometers, so people ask where you get these, or you can buy them individually. So I'm just going to take a test out here of the banana and pour it into our cylinder. Enough to float our hydrometer, which is probably right about there. So that's the banana. And let's do the same over here for our strawberry. We don't want to stir this up as much as possible because remember, our yeast, our dead yeast is going to be at the bottom of this and we're trying to get that out. So there we go. That's the strawberry. All right, there's the hydrometer. I'll get close-ups of this so you can see it. But remember, there's many different sizes. I have a video on how to read a hydrometer. But what we're interested in today is the specific gravity side. That red, that is where we're shooting it for. That is 1.00 specific gravity. Let's start with the banana right here and see where it's at. So I sanitize this and we're gonna drop it in. And I don't have enough wine in there, so I gotta add more. Put a little more banana wine in here. Again, you wanna just make sure your hydrometer is floating. So let's get a reading. So there you can see, we're not in that red, which is where I consider the best place to rack, which I knew for this banana wine. We're at a 1.010. So I think we probably got another couple days. Remember, we saw foaming in there. We kind of knew this, but let's check the strawberry. So I'll get the hydrometer in here. I'm not too concerned about mixing these 2 flavors. If you wanted to, you could rinse this off and re-sanitize it. But strawberry banana wine is good. We're not getting much in these, so let's check this strawberry. I expect this one to go all the way to the bottom. And it's definitely in the red. I'll show you here what I mean. So I'm going to get these lids back off and we'll get our wine back into our buckets here, making sure I don't mix them up. So that's the strawberry. You don't want to waste this, but one thing you can do is you can taste it as you go. I strongly suggest at this point with a 1.0 specific gravity, you're going to have a very, very dry wine if you follow my recipe. You do not want to get sweetness in here until you're ready to bottle because that's when it's going to be the easiest and that's when you're going to be able to finish it and bottle it and get to the sweetness you want. So now all I'm going to do is, remember the banana's not ready. We probably got another 2 or 3 days on that one. So I'll get this sealed back up. But this is ready to rack. I got a whole video on racking that I want to get into, again, the fine details. What do you do? When do you do it? How often do you do it? What refining agents we're going to use? Which one is the best? So make sure you're watching that video. I hope this cleared things up a little bit as to when you get your primary fermentation into your secondary. Strawberry wine. That was just enough to fill this carboy. Perfect. And notice I got that airlock on right away. Make sure you're doing that. Now I'm just going to sit this in a cool, dark place for the next 30 days. And then we'll decide about filtering. Make sure you're watching that video for sure. Until next time, have a great day. And watch this whole series because it's going to be fantastic. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's not that one. You can't click it. You got to click the one down below. Thank you, and see ya in a couple of weeks, maybe days.
So happy it hurt when they walked out the